Hello friends, I asked you all a little while ago for your questions, and you asked so many great questions about everything, about gear, about photography, about techniques, about me, about a million different topics. So what I did was I separated out the questions. I kind of organized them into sort of some loose groups so that each video will kind of have a topic. So that is what today is. It is topic number one. Topic number one is, I'm calling it workflow and art. Who knows what this video will actually be titled when I make it. However, what my questions are all centered around today are workflow, like photography workflow, and also art, photography as an art. So let's get to the question, shall we? Question number one is from Mr. Hockey 172000. What tips do you have when taking pictures to limit the number of pictures that need to be managed and edited? I typically take 3 images for every shot, since the first one seems to be off since I tend to twist the camera. Oh my God, so do I. Do you go through your images on your camera and delete duplicates before you transfer them to a computer? Do you print photographs? What print sources, vendors do you use or recommend? I have the Lightroom suite and it costs about $10 per month. Do you recommend software programs like that for image editing? Okay, so this is all around workflow, right? I'm just gonna go through the questions. So the first one is tips that I have to limit the number of photos that I'm taking so that, limit the number of pictures that need to be managed and edited. So do I take fewer images? Do I delete them in camera? What do I do? Basically, I try to only take the photos that I think I'm really going to want. I am not, I'm not just firing off at everything. So that's something that maybe I wasn't always so much like that, but for my work as Snapchick, I want to spend as little time as possible on the computer. So I really try to only take the photos that I really think I'm gonna want. That doesn't mean that I only, I come home with 10 images and I show you 10 images. That's not at all what that means. I will come home with 100 images and show you 10, but at least it's better than 300 that I'm coming home with and showing you 10. So that's really what I do. I rarely delete things in camera because I've run into trouble with that by deleting something by accident. So I rarely do that. I pretty much always deal with it, get stuff transferred so that I at least have 2 copies before anything ever gets deleted anywhere. I have deleted entire videos that I've filmed. Yeah, it's no good. So there's that. And then, do you print photographs? Oh yeah, I don't print all of them, but I definitely print. I have a printer. It's a Canon Pixma Pro 100. I've been using it for years. I like it. At-home printers are not cheap, so I do sometimes send things out. There's really 2 places that I would personally recommend just because they're what I use. There are a lot out there. However, I like to use MPix, just mpix.com, and no affiliation with them, by the way. I just have used them for a long time. And Saal Digital, S-A-A-L Digital. They did actually sponsor a video a while back. It was the first time I knew about them, so I used their service to see what it was like before I would accept a sponsorship for a video, and I really liked it. They are very detail oriented there, from everything from having I will link to the video so that I don't go on and on about this, but those are 2 places actually that I would recommend. Don't pay attention to the comments in the Saal video of people being like, of course you're gonna like them, you're being sponsored. That's not actually how I feel. I actually do really like them. They are very good. But so is MPix, and MPix has a lot of sales. So that's always good. All right, what's my next question? I have the Lightroom suite and it costs about $10 per month. Do you recommend software programs like that for image editing? Yes, I have Lightroom. I also have Capture One, but I also sometimes use the free software from Nikon or from Canon. Yeah, they're all good. I think that's a really personal thing, and I won't apologize for having the subscription, and I don't think you should either. I know a lot of people like to hate on it, but it's nice to just always have it updated. So there's that. All right, my next question is from Nev. Nev says, question, when taking pics, are you thinking composition, art, or technical when you're about to shoot? Oh, he has 3 questions. So that's the first one. I'm thinking of all those things, but at this point, it's all a sub-process. You know, it's not something that is in the forefront of my mind. I'm not thinking, I'm going to compose this so that blah, blah, blah. Actually, that's not true. Every once in a while, I am thinking that. But typically, it's all just, it just happens. But because of my work, I am reviewing cameras and such sometimes. So the technical part is oftentimes in my head, but once I use a camera for a while, it goes away. That technical thinking mind goes away. So that's actually why I take so long to review my cameras, is so that I can get to the point where I'm not so much thinking about the camera itself and the technical part. I'm just in the flow. I'm in the flow state, to use a nice cliched management term. Nev's second question is, there seems to be an obsession with getting pics 100% perfect, which I think is fueling the arms race of technology. How can we slow down this arms race as an industry or hobby? You do you, man. That's it. You do you. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Don't worry about what a 100% perfect photo is. Just you do what you want to do, and the manufacturers will follow the dollars. So you buy what you want, what you like, you do what you want, and they will follow. So maybe not you specifically, it needs to be a whole, a lot of people, but if everybody's doing what they like, and that, a lot of people like a common thing, the industry will move that way. That's just economics. So question number 3 was, I've seen a few comments regarding mirrorless camera sensors being damaged by direct sunlight, saying shooting sunsets or sunrise because there's no mirror. Have you seen this at all? Yes, it can happen. I think that people in general tend to be far too careful with their cameras. Not to say go and point your camera at the sun for a long time, because yes, you do have to consider, what is getting to your sensor. But I've shot plenty of sunsets. I have shot plenty of sunsets and sunrises, like time lapses, where my camera's pointed there for a little while, but I've never had any issues. So I would say just, be sensible. Next question is from Hank. He says, if you ended up in a flat, so these last 3 questions here, they're all related to the same thing. I loved this question because it's something that I have thought about a lot just in the past, and I will get to the rest of that story in a second. Hank said, if you ended up in a flat cornfield state like Illinois, how would you find something to shoot? And then Terry said, I can relate to that question. Living in central Arkansas, we have little photogenic opportunities. And then Hank said again, yes, I would like to see what she would shoot in Kankakee County, Illinois? Kankakee? I don't know. So anyway, the reason that I actually like this question is because I've gotten it before, and I always kind of like scratch my head, because I just like the world and I will take photos anywhere. So I have been in flat places, and I think there can be a beauty in a flat place. I know I'm in the mountains a lot, or in the, desert mountains, forest mountains. I am in those places a lot just because that's where I live. But being in a flat grassland, say, can be just as beautiful. You just have to focus on different things. So you make sure you get your butt out there every cloudy day there is, so that there's something in the sky that you can, have as kind of a subject almost. Or you find those grain silos and you make those a focal point of your image. Or you focus on Macro, you know, you're looking at the grasses and the flowers and the soil and the rocks and anything else that might be on the ground. So I have a million things that I can think of. And in fact, it is on my list in the future to take one of my field trips to a place like Illinois or Arkansas, because I do think it's beautiful in just a different way than the mountains are. So, or the Grand Canyon or something with more, you know, depth. I don't know what you want to call that. Something with more stuff in it. So I think that your photos and your photography and your creativity, they are what you make of it. So embrace it, you know? And that's all I have to say about that. And that's it for this first Ask Snapchick Q&A video on workflow and art stuff. So thanks you all for your questions. I will be back soon with my next video. I have topics including gear, which gear to buy, of course, because everyone always asks about gear. Questions on being a photographer. I have personal questions. I have questions on being a YouTuber and some other stuff too. So make sure you subscribe and click the bell so you get notifications and stuff. And that's it. Talk to you soon.